And that's the
Now,
disappointment when you fuck a guy for over an hour and he just go.
Did anybody recognize you from film in the industry? They did? Okay. Okay. Well, I just came in. You gotta do what you gotta do.
You are such an advocate. One thing is what I love is I love seeing a lot of the beautiful women that's in the industry as sex advocates.
And I would set up crystals on their body based off of their chakra. And the crystals, what they do is if they sit long enough, they begin to like permeate through the body. They begin to expand through the body and they create a grid.
I shot with John Q too. You know, John Q, you know, I'm the first big girl, but he did inside, you know, inside. Yeah. But
I would, and I have given my last dime to people. I've given when I should have just watched. And it's not always about giving financially. It's giving your space and your time and your energy.
so that's kind of like a 50-50 answer, what I got. That wasn't really a yes or no answer.
I think I actually would, and this is of course the therapist in me, I would be asking them, like, tell me how this is celibacy for you.
So we're first there, and
I shoot them just like I would be shooting a regular human. So you don't put the emphasis on that, so it makes it more consistent with the title of being transgender.
I have a real good friend. She lives here in Atlanta. I met her on a porn set. She wrote a book called From Porn to the Pulpit. Now, I won't say she was like this super... Yeah, she's my best friend. She's my best friend. Her name is Danielle Williams McCord. She wrote an amazing book called From Porn to the Pulpit. She's been preaching for 10 years now, but I met her on a porn set.
In any business that you find yourself in. Because definitely for me, like, you know, creating a product to push to the consumer, and for me, everything was consumer driven. If they didn't want it, I'm not gonna make it because I knew it.
Felt like if we kept our head a little below the sagebrush, that we would just be able to keep on going without any interference or anything like that. But that's
like, dude, I'm sitting in like the dressing room, like just with all the 20-year-olds and 22-year-olds, 25-year-olds. I'm like, how old are you? Oh, I'm 25. I'm like, how old are you? I'm 23. And I'm like, dude, I'm 30.
Before I leave the house, I feel like the last look. You know, this is how I feel, this is what I'm thinking, you know. Now, when I get out and interact with other people, it's going to be what it is.
Right, okay.
Yeah, bridging the gap. Nyomi Banks, the goddess. Tune in. Hey yo, Black, where we at? Elements. Got a problem? What's the issue? Ask Nyomi for advice, she will bless you. Is it sex, love, or relationships? If your spirits are down, you can get a daily uplift. Just listen every word that she speaks. Setting trends with hashtags for every day of the week. Hashtag motivational Mondays, testimonial Tuesdays. I've been listening for the last 2 days. Wet Willie or Wisdom Wednesdays. Either way, the conversation gon' be lengthy. It's not hearsay. This is her way. You know she'll keep you thirst trapping on a Thursday. 4 days down, I'll talk about the number 5 day. Never coy, she always keeps it freaky on Fridays. Spiritual on Saturdays with sessions in the morning. Still uplifting and inspiring you all in. Being the goddess that she is, she keeps you all in. Formed on soul searching Sundays, just call in. If you misinformed, come get the facts. Fortunate for you, she's looking to bridge the gap. Yes, she was a porn star, but she's more than that. She's a certified specialist teaching us how to act. By the end of the show, we'll agree to disagree, but be good to each other and ourselves and keep it sexy. Yeah. Tune in every week to Ask Naomi. Bridging the Gap with Naomi Banks and Dog Pound Mike. Don't miss it. Tune in.
All right. All right, it's your girl, the goddess, Naomi Banks, here on Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast, where we talk about love, sex, relationship, culture differences, and so much more while bridging the gap between them all and teaching the world on love and sex language, attitude, and spiritual uplifting. What is going on to my BTG crew? What's going on, Dr. Mike?
It's all good, all good.
All right, so we in a little deep topic today. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm gonna sit back, take some notes, and
Gonna take some notes.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a very, very special guest. Well, actually, he is going to be a part of our show. Our resident therapist, doctor, medical psychologist, and holistic specialist, Dr. William C. Washington. Dr. Will, what's going on?
I am so happy to be here. I had a full day, and now I'm ready to let it all out here. So it's ready.
I know that's right. I know that's right. All right, today we're going to be talking about mental health and well-being. I thought it would be a very, very great topic to introduce Dr. Will in. Like I said before, he will be joining us here on a lot of our shows here to help us to get y'all in order. No.
The chaos and the order, it's all worth it.
Right, to get us in order, but also to help break the stigma and the stereotypes of what mental health is in the well-being, and also help with teaching us on how we can help ourselves better. You know, I'm really big on self-care and self-love, but also we want to take it a step further by bringing in somebody who is a professional, and this is what he does on a daily. So he sees everyone from every aspect of the world. So he'll be better equipped to be able to talk to you all, whether you are man, woman, black, white, purple, green, whatever, that he's able to relate to you in that matter. All right. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about mental health and well-being. And yeah. All right. It's your girl, the goddess, Naomi Banks, here on Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast. We'll be right back. All right, my sexy people, are you ready to be inspired and motivated to create the life of your dreams? Then mark your calendars for February 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap, we are back live and with an incredible guest. So get ready to meet Mo, the goddess, a lifestyle coach, entrepreneur, and the author of the captivating book, Permission to Power. You won't want to miss this captivating conversation as Mo, the goddess, dives deep into her personal journey, revealing the challenges she has overcome, the lessons she's learned, and the breakthroughs that transformed her life. So mark your calendars for February 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and join us live for an unforgettable episode of Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and discover the power within you to create a life that you deserve. So don't miss this opportunity to gain valuable insights from Mo, the goddess herself. Tune in to Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast live on February 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You definitely don't want to miss.
Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast with Naomi Banks, where every day is a chance to embrace self-discovery and personal growth. Join Naomi on a transformative journey, streaming exclusively on Spotify and Breaker. With daily episodes from Monday through Friday, podcast is your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and self-love. Dive deep into engaging conversations about self-care, mindfulness, and personal development. Naomi brings you expert insights, practical tips, and uplifting stories from thought leaders in the field. Embark on a journey of self-discovery and unlock the power of self-love. Mark your calendars and tune in to the Season of Self-Love podcast, available every weekday on Spotify and Spreaker. Remember, it's time to prioritize yourself and embrace the beautiful season of self-love. Get inspired and join Naomi Banks on the Season of Self-Love podcast.
All right, but welcome back. It's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks here on Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap podcast. And today we're talking about mental health and well-being. Again, I want to welcome Dr. Will. How's it going?
It's going so good. I'm so excited to be here. Full day. I'm ready.
Yeah,
All the,
we
all
had
the
an
questions.
amazing
All the
show
questions.
this morning. This morning, he came in and he joined me in a conversation on the Season of Self-Love podcast where we talked about the power in affirmation. And that was a great show. And we might talk about it a little bit today because also with mental health, it's all about also is knowing and understanding your self-care routine for you to be able to manage it. All right, so this is one of the questions I want to pose the question that I posed earlier today on social media, and I want you to see if you can answer this for me, Dr. Will. So the question is, what unique challenges do African Americans face when it comes to mental health, and how can we address them to ensure equal access to care and resources?
I'll give you the short answer.
Okay.
We need to address the access first.
Okay.
The access is not okay. The education of mental health is not okay. And the acceptance of mental health is not okay. And I know we're going to break that down a lot, but that's to keep it quick because those three together, the access, the education, and the acceptance has not been talked about, and it's in our homes.
Yes.
We say life starts where the home is set, right? It starts at the home, but the home is not okay right now.
Right.
And we have to talk about that.
Yes. So let me ask you this, and it's something that I've been seeing, especially since COVID. Since COVID had happened, you see a rise in depression, especially amongst younger kids, teenagers in elementary school, and there's so many things that's been happening from incidents in school. You know, I can't really say the word, but incidents in school. Um, and just different things for you. Do you believe that social media has something to do with the possibility with mental health when it comes to children and teenagers and just the work? You know what I mean?
Yes. So social media has the power to create positivity, connection, and it has the power to also destroy connectivity and connection at the same time. And when you are a child that does not have a foundation, if you're an adolescent that doesn't have a foundation, you become a product of whatever you find. That algorithm is only going to support whatever you're looking to. So if I feel depressed, or if I feel sad, and I'm looking for things to help me understand my sadness, it's going to go into, well, instead of sad, what about isolated? What about alone? What about lonely? What about depression? Because depression is a clinical term. And depression, when you break it up, it means sad, isolated, lonely, sleep habits, poor appetite, right? Poor grades, right? So there's a lot of depressive symptoms that's in the algorithm of social media before we even get to depression. And before you know it, you're already there. And then you're just following the culture of what depression does on social media.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: what would you put as a true meaning of depression? Because what I did realize is that actually after the COVID, after the pandemic happened, excuse me, I just remember going to the doctor's office, and I remember there was a line of different questions that was on it that wasn't there before. And one of the questions is about depression and how do you feel? Give me a 1 to 5 or a 1 to 10. So for you, and I just heard you say that it's, kind of like they put everything in depression. What would be your definition of what depression is?
Yes. So the clinical definition is having these criterias, right? Sleep issues, appetite issues, sadness, nervousness, anger, isolation, right? All these words that kind of make you separate yourself from being functional in your natural life. But to look at it from a holistic standpoint, depression is the awareness that you no longer feel connected to the things that made you who you are. And as a result of that, it's hard to look outside of yourself because you're internalizing, or you're just feeding yourself in so much internally that you actually don't know how to speak out or get out of that situation. And by the time you're in a depressive state, you're already cycling. So before I even ask if somebody is depressed, I say, you have depressive like symptoms, right? Depressive like symptoms means I see the sadness, I see the low mood, I see the fatigue, I see the poor eating habits, I see these things. But when does it become depression? And a lot of times we claim the diagnosis before we even talk about the symptoms, which is why I always say treat the symptoms, not the diagnosis.
So
We
what would you
diagnose
say?
ourselves so fast.
So what would you say? What is that? So if just say out of all of those that you said, you have majority of
Mhm.
those. You know what I'm saying? What would
Mhm.
make it depression? You know what I'm saying? So I hear what you're saying
Yeah.
on a clinical side of things. So what
Yeah.
would be the answer to somebody that's going through majority of that? What is that answer?
Yeah. And I hate to say it like this, but you technically can't call it depression until you see a professional, right? That's how they claim it. But we've socialized mental health. So if you're experiencing all those things, but I say depression as an umbrella term to say I got a lot of things in me right now, and I don't want to tell you all of them. I'm just letting you know it's depression because you can pick which one you want. So
Mhm.
it's a quick way to be like, I got a lot in me, but I don't want to talk about it,
Mhm.
right? So it's important to understand that, when we just say, oh, I have ADHD. Okay, but like, what type? What are your behaviors? What are these things? Like, to me, that's a big answer, right? So it's important to be sensitive about that, because sometimes I can just be sad and not have depression. Like,
Mhm.
if someone says, oh, I have depression, well, you just lost your parents. Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like that doesn't mean it's a clinical issue. Like, you lost your parents, you're
Mhm.
grieving. Yeah, you're sad. That makes sense. But if you have a great day and nothing went wrong in the day and you still feel sad, you gotta check in with yourself.
Mhm.
You gotta check in with yourself. And how many times do we really check in with ourselves during the day? Or even people come around and say, well, check in with me. How you doing? I'm good.
Mhm.
Okay, well, what does good mean? Good at what? Tell me what that means. That's why my friends get so annoyed when I ask them, because they're like, oh, you're gonna ask me these questions. Yes, because the truth is that when I don't ask you, you're gonna feel like no one cares about you. And then you're gonna
Mm.
get lonely. Then you're gonna feel alone. And then you're gonna isolate. And then you're gonna have depressive symptoms. So yeah, I am gonna check on you. I am
Mhm.
gonna check on you. And during this pandemic, what did we do? We isolated. We removed
Isolated
ourselves from
ourselves. Yeah.
people.
Mhm.
We did it to ourselves. We had self-inflicting depressive symptoms.
Mhm.
We're just now learning how to be outside again,
Yeah.
right? We're just learning how to do that again,
On set
which
with
is
fear.
amazing.
Fear was put in there very much so. We were fearmonger. Like, it was just all on us, from
Yes.
there. Um, Another question that I have, anxiety. That's one thing that I had
Mm,
went through anxiety for a long, long time, and I've just now, probably the past 5 or 6 years, have been able to maintain it and understand what it is
mm,
for me. For me, um, for you. And I'm going to ask this, and I want to make sure that I'm asking this right, because as you say, with depression, have I been diagnosed with anxiety? No, I haven't. But I know what it is and what it feels like. So if I
mhm.
would
And
tell
you're in tune
a
with yourself.
doctor, yes, what it is, and they will say, okay, this sounds like this, but then we will have to put you on, and I'm not a medication type of person. You understand?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
For that. So when you say the depression
And the
symptom,
symptoms. Mhm. Mhm.
and now I'm gonna, and excuse me, I might put words in your mouth, the anxiety symptoms. How can
Mhm.
you go into a culture, a Black culture, and advise them or get them to say, okay, this is where we need to figure out a way to
Mhm.
manage that? I mean, I know the answer, but I want
Mm.
you to be able to tell to where they can be able to manage that if they're unable to go to
Uh-huh.
the doctor. Because as you said, sometimes it's not accessible, and it's a lot of times that it's not
Right.
educated. We don't talk about it. That is
It's
so
not accepted.
taboo. It's so
Mhm.
taboo to go speak to a therapist, to a psychologist, to anybody like that. So as people of color, as African American people, and it's specifically, and I got fans all around, and I'm not
Yeah,
excluding
of
anybody,
course.
but I want to make sure
Mental
that
illness doesn't discriminate.
yeah, no,
Right.
because
Hmm.
we are the ones that are, I'm not going there because they might think I'm crazy. So for you, how
Hmm.
can we take away that stigma? What can be more pleasing to them and say, all right, look, let's get this together, come on in,
Mm,
you know, how, what can we do to
yeah.
change that narrative, to change and remove that stigma?
Yes. That's such a beautiful question, Naomi. And the thing is that we have to first normalize the word.
Mhm.
Normalize the word, right? A lot of times we don't normalize what we're going through. So a lot of times we think anxiety, we think it's a big word. Oh my gosh, I have anxiety. This is the thing. This is it. This is who I've always been in my life. This is what I'm going to be. I'm going to die with it. It's like, okay, but also there's a good part to anxiety too. Anxiety keeps you aware, it keeps
Mhm.
you focused, it keeps you attentive, it keeps you worried about what's your surroundings. And in Black culture, you had to be worried about your surroundings, the people that you're around, the way that you trust your society, the way that
Mhm.
you trust your connections. Anxiety was also a way to help you get through it too. So when does it go from being something helpful and supportive to something that is harmful and
Mhm.
self-inflicting? It's when you feel like you can't manage it anymore. And
Mhm.
how mental health terms are diagnosed in the DSM, the way that we do criteria, is when it becomes a part of our dysfunctional functional life, right?
Mhm.
It goes from when we actually start functioning with the dysfunction, right? And so it's important to understand that your anxiety isn't bad. First of all, you have to stop thinking anxiety is bad. Anxiety is telling us something about ourselves that we are not capable of dealing with. Your job is to understand what's going on with me. Let me slow down and understand what's happening. And do I understand what I'm going through? Because an anxiety attack is when you lose control because you're trying to control so much. What's going on? Right.
Yes.
So let's talk about this. Let's normalize it and say anxiety is not a problem. It's something that I know is with me. And
Yeah.
so anxiety has also helped you get through things just as
Yeah.
much as it's also stopped you from
Yeah.
things in your life.
Yeah. So why I'm smiling and laughing because I'm thinking about a, a scenario that my anxiety had came when I was pregnant with my
Mhm.
second baby. And I was literally on bed rest the whole entire time, right? And I knew
Wow.
that I was supposed to be in the bed, but no, I needed to be around people. So I will go to my grandmother's. I will drive all the way from Gary, Indiana to my grandmother's house in Markham and will hang there
Hmm.
until my oldest baby will get out of school. You understand what I'm saying? So on my way home, I'm driving down this dark. I will always have to pull over on the road because I will feel myself get ready to pass out. Mind you,
Hmm.
I can't see anything, but I can hear my
Mm.
surroundings around me,
Yeah.
that I can hear everything around me.
Mm.
And it used to happen quite often.
Wow.
So what I've learned now is that I was truly trying to control the situations that was happening to me at that
Right.
time. You understand what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
also, instead of me living in the moment, I was thinking about past and thinking about future and wasn't being in the
Mhm.
present moment right here. So I was allowing
Mm.
everything else around me to stress me that I had no control over that wasn't even here yet. But I've already
Yes.
created it in my mind on what it is and what it's going to be, what caused me to
Mhm.
have an anxiety attack because I had no control. So what
Mm.
happened is that my body shut down all the way. I can hear, but I
Yes.
can't see. You understand? So it was
Oh,
able, my
wow.
thing is I had like a survival mode that I knew when I felt
Mhm.
a certain way,
That's a real trigger.
I'll pull over and that was it. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah.
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 So what you're talking about is a traumatic reaction, and
Mhm.
that causes you to dissociate, right? So you go from living in the present to either time traveling in the past or the future. Trauma has the power of putting us in the past or putting us in the future, taking us and getting away from the present and how valuable that is.
Mhm.
And a lot of times anxiety or even just other types of symptoms will actually take you away, right? Thinking that it's trying to help, thinking it's trying to change, it's
Mm.
trying its best to create that emotional homeostasis, which is us learning how to regulate. Like if your baseline is right here, the anxiety goes, We're bringing it up. We're bringing it up. We're bringing it up. And it's like, and you have to be able to be like, no, I'm just having a long day.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. But a lot of us can't trust that because our anxiety is like, no, I don't trust you. Anxiety is like, Lily, I don't trust you. I'm blending with you, and we're about to take this out because I don't know what's going to happen to me. So that self-awareness creates that emotional responsibility that we all lose sometimes in our traumas. Our traumas kind of create the self-awareness that makes us emotionally irresponsible. And anxiety is one of those things, those triggers that can cause that traumatic reaction.
Mm-hmm. I like that word that you just used, emotionally irresponsible.
Mm-hmm. It's real.
Emotionally irresponsible. And I know a lot of times when you say that to somebody, it will trigger them. What do you mean I'm
Yes.
emotionally irresponsible? Like, I don't, if you listen to right now, you acting, emotional
Yes.
irresponsible because you're not hearing or you're not listening what that person is saying to you. So you're not active listening
Yes.
and understanding what it is. Instead of you listening, you're reacting.
Yes. And
Yeah.
how old are you? And how old are you when you feel reacted? Right? Like I'm 34 years old. But if someone triggers me, I might turn 16 years old because of the relationship I might have with them.
That person.
Right. And so for me, it's like understanding, okay, they're making me feel a way. Instead, usually I'll deflect and be like, no, you wrong. Forget that. F that. No, forget you. But in the back of my mind, they made me feel like I was 14 again, where I wasn't powerful, where I wasn't calm, where I wasn't okay. And it's because they remind me of something that I went through. The action is never the reason. It's not what they're doing to me. It's what I feel like I'm going through in my past. That was my trauma that was reacting. And so I had to emotionally grow up to understand that, oh, they're acknowledging something that I'm currently doing that I had I had no understanding of.
Yeah.
And people that heal can understand that time difference. People that are healing, they understand the time difference. And that is so much different than what today's mental health and illnesses and the stigmas and all this, the work that they're doing now does not think like that. That's why I'm so strong about the holistic approach to this.
So let me ask you this too. So even with going with the holistic approach of it, especially when you have, and everybody, the word that you say is, oh, I'm good. People don't want to admit that something is going on with them. I'm telling you this, probably, I'm putting my percentage on here, probably 85% of the world believes that this is just what happens in life. There is nothing going on with me. I need to just toughen it up and move
It
on.
be like that sometimes. It is what it is, right? We have our own cultural phrases that completely omits emotional responsibility. It be like that sometimes. Does it really be like that sometimes? I don't think so. It doesn't have to be like that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Our words are so powerful.
Yes, they are. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, they are. For you, how do we, and once again, I don't know if you answered it or if I even accepted the answer. How can we bring the stigma and say it's okay not to be okay? But what is not okay is not to acknowledge that you're not okay. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to y'all?
Yes. Yeah, it does. It makes the problem is that it makes too much sense. And unfortunately, when people realize that they're not okay, they don't feel powerful enough to make it okay because they're in a place of helplessness or hopelessness. That's one of the hardest things when I teach these little Black kids and in these schools and I talk about their problems. It's sad because I'll be with them for 60 minutes, but they still got to go home.
Go home. Yes.
The parents don't want or sometimes the parents won't even bring the kids because the kid might actually be the change that might be the cycle breaker or the generational breaker at the age of 6, 7 years old. And then, but they don't even know that because the parents are like, nah, because once the kid knows too much, it's going to ruin everything that I haven't fixed for myself. And so their parents are more willing to bring down their generational curse than actually break the chain. And unfortunately, I see kids and they struggle with that, especially with Black girls with adultification, right? And they end up realizing that they want to change and be different. But it's like, but should I do that? Because I love my mom. I want my mom to love me. So I'm not going to be a problem. I'm just going to avoid it and just kind of hold that in. So there's so much awareness that happens, but we're emotionally irresponsible. So I can answer that question, but also it's hard when you have that hopelessness and helplessness when the access, the education, and the acceptance are not present.
Right. So how can we get it out there? So I know, so let me tell you this. That's why I did create the Season of Self-Love podcast, because my true believing is truly your healing within yourself, having an intimate relationship with yourself and self-love with that, because it makes you a self-awareness, self-acceptance of who you are, and having all of your authentic self, bad, good, or indifference. You understand? Because we have to go through our own healing process to be able to show others on how to treat us. So hopefully that is a domino effect. You understand what I'm saying? So
Yes, yes,
instead
yes,
of
yes.
speaking with our mouth, you can see it within someone. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think if anybody gets your purpose pen and purpose journal, you have to ask yourself, why am I surviving right now? A lot of us are not talking about why we are surviving. We realize we're surviving, but we don't talk about why, which is why I love psychology so much, is understanding the value of your why. And it's understanding that when you learn why you are surviving, you're going to start asking how you're going to live.
Yeah.
I can't ask you to live until you understand the why you survive.
Mhm.
And a lot of times we don't feel like in mental health, we have the power to make change until we're given a safe space to try. Black lives do not get a chance to try. Black women do not get a chance to try. Black trans folk, they do not get to try. It's either all or nothing. That's a cognitive distortion. That's one of the 10 cognitive distortions of anxiety. All or nothing. Either you are everything or you're not. The middle ground is not acceptable. So if you don't do that, you're worth nothing. It's hard to wake up and live that way and think that you're going to be okay. So you can't ask me how I'm doing because I can't give you that middle ground. I have to just let you know I'm doing all good, or I'm letting you know it's going to be all bad.
Right. All right, so this is what we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to talk some more, and I got some more questions for you, all right? It's your girl, the Goddess, Nyomi Banks, here on Ask Nyomi Original God podcast, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast with Nyomi Banks, where every day is a chance to embrace self-discovery and personal growth. Join Nyomi on a transformative journey, streaming exclusively on Spotify and Breaker. With daily episodes from Monday through Friday, podcast is your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and self-love. Dive deep into engaging conversations about self-care, mindfulness, and personal development. Nyomi brings you expert insights, practical tips, and uplifting stories from thought leaders in the field. Embark on a journey of self-discovery and unlock the power of self-love. Mark your calendars and tune in to the Season of Self-Love podcast. Available every weekday on Spotify and Spreaker. Remember, it's time to prioritize yourself and embrace the beautiful season of self-love. Get inspired and join Nyomi Banks on the Season of Self-Love podcast.
All right, my sexy people, are you ready to be inspired and motivated to create the life of your dreams? Then mark your calendars for February 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Because Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap, we are back live and with an incredible guest. So get ready to meet Mo, the Goddess, a lifestyle coach, entrepreneur, and the author of the captivating book, Permission to Power. You won't want to miss this captivating conversation as Mo, the Goddess, dives deep into her personal journey, revealing the challenges she has overcome, the lessons she's learned, and the breakthroughs that transformed her life. So mark your calendars for February 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and join us live for an unforgettable episode of Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast. Get ready to be inspired, motivated, and discover the power within you to create the life that you deserve. So don't miss this opportunity to gain valuable insights from Mo, the Goddess herself. Tune in to Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast live on February 15th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You definitely don't want to miss.
All right, well, welcome back. It's your girl, the goddess Nyomi Binks here on Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast. This is where we talk about love, sex, relationship, and cultural differences, and so much more while bridging the gap between them all and teaching the world on sex, language, attitude, and spiritual uplifting. And today we have our resident therapist here for the first time, Dr. Will. What's going on?
It's such a pleasure to see everybody. It's such a pleasure to see all these great comments coming in.
All right. And we got Dog Pound Mike. We got Dog Pound Mike over there. He a little quiet over there. He a little quiet over there, but he's over
I
there.
missed him. I missed him. I missed him a little bit. Yeah.
It ain't time for me to chime in.
As well as I see the BTG crew. Hey, hey, everybody. Hey, hey, everybody. All right, so you just seen a commercial, and I'm excited about this guest that's coming in 2 weeks, and her story is amazing. I actually went and picked up her book right here. Can you see right here? The Permission to Power, and it's amazing. This beautiful young lady had picked up her stuff and had moved to Bali. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. For her, she gave herself permission and have power to be courageous and live her life for whatever form that it is. And I just cannot wait to share that with you all this month. I mean, we got a lot of great guests coming up here, but I just wanted to make sure that I told you about that so you guys can know, because one thing is I do is I love my people. I love my beautiful people. And I love to hear their stories, because you just don't know who you can inspire, encourage, to get their stuff together. And I don't want to say it like that, but I did just say it. Like I sound like somebody auntie or a grandmama saying, "Get your stuff together, y'all." But y'all know what I
We
mean.
love it.
Yeah, but y'all know what I mean. But today we're talking about mental health and well-being. And before the break, we had really a great conversation about it, dealing with anxiety and all that other stuff. But one question that I do have for you is, what steps can be taken to increase access to mental health services and resources with African American communities, particularly for teenagers who may face barriers such as cost or stigma?
Yes. Unfortunately, when it comes to the children and adults, it's going to be up to the parents. So, parents, I'm talking to you. Those children cannot see health specialists unless you sign it over, unless you give them the rights to go see a therapist, which also means if you want your child to heal, you have to go to therapy first. Because the truth is that your child is going to be the result of whatever you are doing to yourself or what you are not doing to yourself. And so you can't say, "Oh, they a bad kid. They doing all this and the other." I'm like, "Well, what are you doing?" "Well, I'm working. I pay my bills." I'm like, "But are you getting help? Are you okay?" "Well, I got a lot going on. I can't really be dealing with that." "Well, how can you expect them to deal with anything? They're watching you not deal with anything. They're watching you just exist. They're watching you survive." Like, "Well, it ain't about me. I brought my kids in." You have to understand that if your child's going to go to this, you must go through it first. You are the example of healing.
Mm-hmm.
And when parents realize that they are the example of healing for their children, it changes the way that they see who their children really are. It's not just that little kid that don't listen. It's, oh, they're a product of whatever I'm not doing for myself. Right. And so a lot of times when Black mothers come in, they'll give me their kid and be like, "Fix my son." I'm like, "Ma'am, you've had him for 15 years. I had him for 62 minutes. Please give me at least give me 3 hours to figure out what's going on." And the biggest thing I find out is that it's realizing that parents are they're so focused on being a good mom or being a good dad that they forget to be a good person.
Mm.
And it's so heartbreaking because they forget what it meant to be a good person for themselves. They forgot what it meant to love themselves because they're so worried about being a good parent that they forgot how
Lose
good it
the
was to be
identity of
a
who they
human.
are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not just dad. I'm also William.
Mm-hmm.
Do your kids know that you have a name? You're
Yeah.
not just dad or not just mom. Do you have a name? And so when they learn the story of mom, they learn the story of Nyomi, it's a different relationship.
Yeah.
And a lot of times kids don't get that experience until they have to get too old and it's too late.
Yeah.
Or they have to learn again, like, well, who is this person? I don't understand this dynamic. So I encourage, if you want your child to go get help and services, you get it first and you understand what changes are happening in you and realize, is it really your child's issue, or is it what you've been going
Oh,
through and you just couldn't
yes.
deal with it?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
change it. Just
Yeah.
change the narrative here.
Right. It's we spoke about that a little bit earlier today about
Mm.
the foundation that everything starts in the home. You know what I mean? Everything
Mhm.
starts in the home. And then the problem is that majority of the world are broken. So there are broken relationships that's been built on broken foundation. That's what we are. We have a broken
Mm.
foundation. So it's like, how can we go to be able to mend or heal those cracks that's in these foundations in each one of these households? We can go as much as
Mm.
say that, we have all of these different podcasts that we have the battle of the sexes. You understand what I'm saying? Where there is a blame that's put
Yes.
on the men, there's blame that's put on the
Mhm.
women. There's such, how can we come together as a community, a whole? And I'm just not talking about Black. I'm talking about all of us as a
Mhm.
human race. How can we come together and realize that, all right, we need some healing?
Mhm.
Do we bring a self-care or a self-love program into elementary schools, into junior high schools, into
Mm.
high schools? You understand what I'm saying? To where it
Yes.
comes at the ground level. And even though those students are in there for a short period of time, and you even spoke of it earlier about sometimes
Mhm.
parents can learn from their child, on that
Yes.
situation, or better yet, and I'm not being funny, those that get public aid in situations like that, maybe there need to be a program to where there is a self-love and a self-care type of thing, to where there is a mental health healing in there, because being on public
Yes.
aid could be very detrimental to somebody's self-esteem, to
It's
their
important.
self-worth. You understand? And then from that,
Mhm.
that builds into your children. So
Yes.
it happened. You know what I'm saying? So we
Yes.
need to find to where in government that it needs to change with that, to bring it into as a part of education. Even though this right here to our and is our core, but we still need to educate. We still need to understand
Yes.
what it is, because right here, this is a powerful thing. The mind is a
It
very
is.
powerful thing.
It is. And JDM Joe saying that, it's better than seeing a doctor who prescribes feel good pills. And the thing is that when even when the kids take pills, they're not changing the behavior.
No.
Right. So you're giving them all this ADHD medication. That's great, but they still are behind. They're still behaving in a way. You're doing these pills, but you're not changing the behavior. You're doing these pills, but you're not helping the family. You're giving these pills, but you're not changing the relationships at home. You're they're just functioning.
Yeah.
Right? They're idling. They're idling, right? They're just idling until they don't get the next fix. And so it's so important to understand that there's a sensitivity in time that this government is not allowing. They're not allowing the space, right?
Mm.
And you think about it, even during the pandemic, we didn't get space. Everything just turned right back on. We're all going back to work. People are saying, oh, they don't want to work anymore. It's not that people don't want to work. It's the fact that they can't live off of the wage that they're doing. People are saying no to jobs because they realize that they can't live. So they're better off not working
Mm.
because they can't afford to, they can't afford to work. And the thought of that process,
That's
you
something.
can't
That's
afford to
crazy.
work. Now
Yeah.
think about that. I have to not work because I can't afford it. The thing about that does to the mind, right? And it's such a heart-wrenching mindset,
Mhm.
because there is a psychological warfare going on. And so there is literally this space where we cannot exist as functional human beings. I always tell people, is your human showing? Make sure your
Mm.
human shows today. Because a lot of times, a lot of us have to remove the humanity of ourselves
Yeah.
to make sure we can get through the day. And
Mm.
that's not okay. It's not
Yeah.
okay, Naomi.
Now, for you now have brought in holistic healing into your program, or what you do on healing. So please
Mhm.
explain to our listeners, what exactly is that, and how can it help with mental well-being and mental health?
Yes. So my focus is transforming mental illness into holistic wellness.
Mhm.
And to do that, you have to expand the way you look at yourself. A lot of us say, here I am. This is my problem. This is what I'm dealing with. I need help. It's not enough. You're so much more than that, right? I wish it was 1 + 1 = 2. I wish it was. I wouldn't have a job if that was the case. We have to expand the way that we look at ourselves. So when I think about how you are, how you feel, write this down, purpose pen, purpose journal. There's 8 different ways that I look at you when you talk to me. I think about your physical health. I think about your emotional health. I think about your social or relational health. I think about your family health. I think about your financial or occupational health. I think about your environmental health. I think about your educational health. And lastly, I think about your spiritual health. So when you talk to me about depression, I think about how does your depression affect your physical health? How does it affect your emotional health? How does it affect your relationship health? How does it affect your family health? How does it affect your educational health? How does it affect your environmental health? How does it affect your spiritual health? I think about you in 8 different ways because the truth is that healing is a lifestyle and trauma takes you away from making healing as a lifestyle. I think of stress as a wellness currency. So think of stress as a wellness currency, not a problem, but a wellness currency. When you feel stress, it means you're being taken away from your healing. What are you doing? This stress is taking away from your healing. What are you stressed about? How is it affecting you? One of those 8 health modalities. I call them health modalities. And you start recognizing like, oh, it's just a financial issue. Oh, it's just a relationship issue. Oh, it's that. But the other 5 or the other 6, they're okay. I know football players. I have NFL football players coming in. I have Grammy award-winning artists coming in, and they come to me and they talk about their anxiety and their depression. And I'm like, you're successful. Like you're making great money. Like what's up? They're like, and I listen to their story, and I realize that they're dealing with family health. They're dealing with emotional health. Their physical health is great, but then their spiritual health is low. Right? So we have to focus on those 3 things. So now they realize that what they're dealing with is more than just sadness or depression or anxiety. They're dealing with these spaces in their life that don't feel fulfilled. And so the more you tell your story, the less you become of it. And so your depression has a story. Your anxiety has a story. Do you know that story? And when you understand the why and what happened in your story, it actually normalizes your mental health. It makes it capable. You reframe it to something where you can write your own narrative rather than allowing trauma to control that. And so I'm expanding the way that we see ourselves and the way we accept ourselves. And that's how we're going to beat the stigma that you were talking about.
Okay. All right. So, so tell them where can they, if anybody wants to have your services, where can they see? They can see you here, of course, but where else can they
Yeah.
see you?
I was like, find me here. I'm here.
One-on-one.
I'm not leaving. I'm staying here. I'm staying here. No, you can't. I like it here. It's warm here. If they want to see me, they can go to WashingtonWellnessInstitute.org and you can sign up for a free 15-minute consultation. I'm telling you, we can talk about a lot in 15 minutes. And then if you want, you can sign up for a session with me. We can learn my new health modality. And the beautiful thing is I don't give homework. I give quests. Because when you give homework, it means there's deadlines, there's grades. You don't get a grade for therapy, right? So I give you quests. So I'm gonna give you quests, which means you can go on a journey to actually go do these things. You can come back 5 years later and answer the same question. So the questions I give you are for your healing journey, not for what you're here for. So you can grow into your question. I want people to grow into their own questions, into their own reflections. So come on, talk to me 15 minutes, free.
Man, let me tell you something. You just confirming everything from me. No,
I'm here for you. I'm here for you. I got you. I got you.
everything's for me. So let me tell y'all something because y'all know I've been living my life out loud, especially these past 10 years, and I've been showing it all unapologetically. And I am so happy that I have been courageous enough to do that and be that. So I'm able to not be in front of you with my mask on. Like right now, even though y'all see me with contacts on my eyelash, because I need them to see my eyelashes on or whatever like that, but I don't have my mask on. This is the most nakedness that you will ever see. So you all saw me raw naked now. Forget what you're seeing in the films and the movies right here. This is the best part. For me, this is the most sexiest part ever. When you can see somebody authentic, real, and raw, and understanding that it's okay to go through a healing, that it's not that you are less than or that you have a problem or a situation or whatever. No, what's the most amazing thing is when you can acknowledge and say, you know what,
Yes.
I'm not okay. I'm not good. Or what's the word last week? Fine.
Fine.
That I'm not fine.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice that I'm not nice. I'm not fine. Y'all understand? So there
Mhm.
are so many different programs and things out there for you, and a lot of them is free, either podcast, and I'm about to do me a post. Go to Season of Self Love Podcast. I'm there Monday through Friday. Monday through
Mhm.
Friday, where we do a lot of different things and different exercises. As that he said, get your purpose pen and your purpose paper and write it down. Like literally, we're going to class. I'm taking folks to class. When I
Mhm.
asked him to join me in on this, because he just wanted to come do Ask Naomi at first. I said, no, brother, you got to come on over here on the other side. You got to
I was like, you got more? I'm like, you don't stop. This is great.
But we get in and we there's
Mhm.
no rock that's unturned. I mean, we go in and we break everything down. Last month we did about setting intentions. And when I say we were setting intentions, every day it was something different, but we still said the same things because we have to keep
Mhm.
repeating things to ourselves over and over again so things can be repetitive. So we can get into and create a mindset that is positive, a mindset that looks at things from a different perspective, a mind
Mhm.
thing that looks at if anything is negative to be able to overcome those setbacks and move through them. You understand? These
Mhm.
are a lot of practices too that helps with mental wellness and well-being. But I'm gonna let the doctor speak a little bit more.
I was like, I'm like, I can go anywhere with this. And I think the biggest thing is that I want all your viewers to understand that we have purpose in everything. And a
Mhm.
lot of us are living in motive. Motive is about self gratification, instant gratification. You know,
Mhm.
if I do this, this happens. If I do this happens. You know, but when you live in purpose, you're not worried about everything around you. So when we're on this podcast and we're chatting, what we're talking to you about is purpose.
Yeah.
When this river is flowing, you become the rock
Yeah.
and you allow these things to pass you and go through. A setback is great because then you get perspective. We
Yeah.
talk about high energy and low energy. You know,
Yes.
high energy is meant to you for you to experience. When you get that high, you're supposed to experience that high.
Yeah.
When you have low energy, it's not bad energy. What that is telling you is that you need to slow down and give perspective.
Mhm.
Low energy means you have perspective. And so when you have those depressive moments, those depressive thoughts, and you're sitting in bed or you feel unmotivated and you can't take a shower, okay. But understand that when you don't take that shower, when you don't get out of bed, when you stop eating the way you should, ask yourself why. Not, I can't believe it. Don't shame yourself. Don't punish yourself. You're already doing that. So
Right.
it's time to understand, well, why do I not want to take a shower? Why don't I want to take care of myself? Why don't I? Why am I not reaching out? Right? Because the truth is that a lot of depression and trauma, it takes us away from emotional responsibility because it's trying to teach us something about ourselves. You're depressed because you're not doing something for yourself. And so we call that a growing pain, right? Where
Mhm.
you understand that you're growing, but you also understand that discomfort. And I tell my clients all the time, sometimes you have to step outside of your comfort zone to bring something back.
Mhm.
And it's okay. It's okay to come back. People think, oh, I gotta heal, I gotta keep pushing forward, I gotta heal and be positive. You can burn out from healing.
Yes.
So take breaks in
Right.
your healing. Take breaks in your healing because I'm telling you, you get burned, you'll be like healing's ugly. You be because you actually get mad at trying to be so hard on trying to heal so much. It doesn't work. When you first start working out, you don't work out every single day.
Yeah.
Start with stretching, take a break, you have recovery. And we don't understand that there's recovery and healing.
Yes.
So give yourself the chance to pace yourself.
Yeah.
Pace yourself. And the last thing I'll say is that, you know, when in doubt, sit. SIT. Slow down, internalize or interview, talk it out. Slow down, internalize, interview yourself, talk it out. And I really mean talk it out. It means pray it out, meditate it out, live out loud, live it loud it out, right? All of that. Because I think a lot of times we don't like to sit. So slow down. You don't have to stop. You don't have to stop because people like think, oh, if I stop, I won't win. No. I didn't say stop. I said slow down.
Mhm.
Pause. Ask yourself what you're doing, because the truth is that even when you break an arm, if you don't set the arm right, it doesn't grow right.
Right.
Set your heart right so you can love right.
I like that. Set your heart right so you can love right. I like that. I'm taking that one too.
Mm-hmm. That's yours. That's yours. That's on you. Like, you make that a t-shirt. That's your t-shirt. That's your t-shirt. You got it.
All right. So I know I want to open up the lines. Can we open up the line, or at least put a if anyone have any questions out there and you want to, be able to ask Dr. Will or myself any questions, we're going to put the link out right now so you can ask it. Again, we're talking about mental health and wellness if you just joined us from whatever streaming platform that you watch. And it's been amazing. These are like some of my best shows that I love to do. Because I love for people to find out, how can I heal? You know what I'm saying? What can I do to heal myself? How can I get free? You know what I'm saying? And I know what I feel like. And it's like really a spiritual high. And when I'm telling you, I be high, I don't be high on
Yeah.
no drugs. I be high just on life and understand
Yes.
what it all
Healing
is.
looks good on you.
Yeah,
Healing
thank
looks good
you.
on you. Healing
Yeah.
looks good on you.
Yeah. And I just think once you do that, once you just open to be able to do, to everyone else, and then it's a domino effect. So it's a part of us serving one another and healing one another. You understand what I'm saying?
Healing is contagious. I'm
Yes.
telling you, we talk about that. People always say, when I watch someone else's trauma, I get traumatized. I'm like, if you watch someone's healing, you also start to want to heal too.
Mhm.
So you trust me, if you can watch somebody in their healing, it's going to make you want to heal too. So even all the viewers that are watching right now, you're being a witness. You're secondary healing.
Mhm.
You're learning our language, which is becoming a part of your language.
Mhm.
And that language of self-love is real.
Yeah,
It's contagious.
it is. It is. We'll take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back, and then we're gonna finish off this. Again, we're gonna take some calls, right, producer over there. Yep.
Yep,
All
the
right.
link is up already, and we'll come back with phone number.
All right. Good. All right. It's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast with Nyomi Banks, where every day is a chance to embrace self-discovery and personal growth. Join Nyomi on a transformative journey, streaming exclusively on Spotify and Breaker. With daily episodes from Monday through Friday, podcast is your daily dose of inspiration, motivation, and self-love. Dive deep into engaging conversations about self-care, mindfulness, and personal development. Nyomi brings you expert insights, practical tips, and uplifting stories from thought leaders in the field. Embark on a journey of self-discovery and unlock the power of self-love. Mark your calendars and tune in to the Season of Self-Love podcast, available every weekday on Spotify and Spreaker. Remember, it's time to prioritize yourself and embrace the beautiful season of self-love. Get inspired and join Nyomi Banks on the Season of Self-Love podcast.
Hey, my sexy people, it's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks. And I finally did it. I've written my first book. Well, actually, it's a living journal. It's called Good Morning, My Sexy People, where I share my stories in different posts, but help a healing workbook for you. So it's 90 days to kick off your healing living journey. Pre-purchase now. Go to asknaomi.com and hit shop. Listen.
All right, it's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap podcast. I am here with Dr. Will. What's going on, baby?
It's all good. It's so great. It's so grand.
That's what I'm talking about. And Dog Pound Mike, he been so quiet today. What's going on?
Just been sitting back listening.
You getting deep over there in your mental?
Well, I guess one thing you guys are talking about, and I know especially in the Black society, Black community, I'm a little up there in age, and the thing is instead of talking about mental health, when I grew up, it was all just about being crazy. People was crazy, and they put that stigma on being crazy. Where if you're crazy, it ain't no help. It ain't no way to get around. That's just what you are. So it hasn't been, in my time, it hasn't been. I rarely heard anything about mental health when I was growing up. It was all about crazy or this person got a problem. And I guess one of the things that even as you guys talked about, that's in this society and in this in this country we live in, there never was a foundation, especially for Black people. We was never built on
Mm,
a foundation
Mm.
where we can think about
yeah.
healing, apnea, and depression
Yeah.
was a way of life, you know. And I guess
True.
that's even years later, hundreds of years later, we're still trying to build that foundation and build up so people can talk about these things and heal and know exactly what's going on.
Mm,
So that is, you know, and I heard we talk about the kids. We talk about the kids a lot and changing it for them, you know, and
mhm.
it has to start with us. It has to start with the parents and the older people in the community too, just to
Yes.
realize what we went through and that we still
Yes.
find healing and happiness as we get older as well.
Right. So you think we're
Mhm.
constantly in the survival mode. So we have
Constantly,
not
yeah.
gotten out of that survival mode at all.
And
So it's
it's I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to get out that survival mode
mm-hmm.
because that's all we
Mhm.
have known
Mm-hmm.
was survival.
Society created that. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And I hate to say it like this, but I've had to have hard talks with older people, and I said, you have to. Before I even talk to you, I need to know if you're an old person or are you an elder,
Mm.
because the conversation is going to be very different. When you're an old person, I don't have hope in the change that you have. If you're an elder, that means you're willing to reach back for us, because I
Mm.
believe our elders are truly the answer to a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know that there's a lot of old people that don't want to be elders because they're afraid of what the responsibility might be, because they may have caused a lot of the damage themselves.
For sure.
Ooh.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think it was caused they caused that not even knowing, you
Yeah.
know, not
Yes,
even
right. They didn't know. They
just
didn't
by
know.
society,
Yeah.
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 Yes. I'm so glad you said that, Mike. I'm so
Yeah.
glad you said that.
Yeah, that's the big
Yeah.
thing. You don't know no better. Now that you do know better, then that's what I go by. Now that I know better, I do better. And when I'm saying
Mm.
I do better, I'm talking to everyone that want to hear.
Now that
Seriously.
you know better, you do better. But one of the things, and I know what Dr. Will said about old people, they know that too. If I know better, I'll do better. But they come back with excuse. I'm just too damn tired
Yeah.
to do it.
Or I'm too old and set in my
I'm
ways.
set in my
I'm
way.
in my way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm too old and set in my way.
ooh,
Set in
that one gets me.
Yeah.
That one always gets me. That one always gets me because well, if that's the case, I'm like, well, can you move? Because we need space. We can have. It's hard out here. Like, we need people to move out. I need you to move out. We need new communities. They're like, oh no, I'm still doing. I'm like, well then help.
Yeah.
You are possible, and it's scary. It's scary to to say that you can help something when you know that you've been a part of the destruction of something,
Yeah.
right?
I
Or you
think
feel
it's
like you didn't do
rooted in
enough.
fear. I think it's all rooted
So
in
much fear.
fear.
So
Yeah.
fear is different. Fear is different.
Yes.
Every Black generation has its own different fear. I
Yes.
literally did a whole thing about this, about how fear changed in each Black generation.
hmm
It's crazy how it developed in our society and Black culture. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's
It's like fear
astounding.
shows up in so many different ways. It's like it's camouflage. It's just like go or a
Yeah.
chameleon. Like seriously, like a chameleon. It
Yes.
comes in every, fear is procrastination. You know what I'm saying? Fear is comes from your
Mhm.
self-doubt, limited, everything.
Fear is
And
depression. Fear is anxiety.
yes,
Right.
yes, yes.
You know, and a lot of time we use that word fear, and a lot of people think when you fear something, you're scared of it. But it's a lot of older people I know, like maybe even myself,
Mhm.
we live in fear, but we ain't scared of nothing.
Exactly. Mm.
Because it's just the
Oh,
way
say that
it is.
again. Say that one more
I
time for
We
like
me.
live
that.
in fear, but we ain't scared of nothing. You know,
Mm.
and then that's where we don't even know what that
You
it
didn't have
is.
time to be. You didn't have time to be scared,
No, and that's
right?
because we trying to live. We
Mm-hmm.
trying to live. We
Exactly.
try, and when you think about it, and you look at the mental health, but men and women and older parents, they trying to live. We trying to take care of our kids.
Yeah.
We trying to change the way
Mhm.
they come up from the way we came up. We trying to teach them about finance, teach them about
Right.
housing, teach them, and the
Mhm.
thing teach them, we still put them in that fear stereotype,
Yeah.
But
Yes.
it's the way we see growth in them as well, you know.
So we instill that
Exactly.
fight or flight.
Think about I always say black folks always have we always have the talk and we have the other talk where it's like, you have the sex talk, then you have the talk about, hey, you're black. This is what this means. I was like, I just wanted to play basketball. I just wanted to, I'm in band. I don't even know what, like, what does this talk about? Now I got to think about me being black, but you taught it to me in a way of fear. You didn't teach it to me in a way of pride, of acceptance, of love, of community, of responsibility. You taught it into a way to protect myself and create defense, but didn't even realize that you actually instilled fear into me. And I had to manifest that in my own way and figure myself through that. Right? It's that weird talk that we don't talk about.
Right. Yeah. Right. So I got a question for you. And I had it and I lost it. Let me see. Where is it? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Okay. Did I say that already? How can we empower African American teenagers to develop healthy coping mechanism and self-care practices amidst the pressure of social media?
Yeah, that's a new one. So I'll keep it short. The biggest way to do that is to, actually lean into social media. So, but we always say get away from it. So what I want my adolescents to do, right? I want you to create different profiles. Create a profile that talks about positivity. Create a profile that's for your sadness. Create a profile that's your professional one. Create a profile for your entrepreneur one. So create different profiles so that when you are choosing, well, I can only be 20 minutes on the positive one, maybe 20 minutes on the work one. I'm feeling a little sad. Let me go into the sad one real quick and actually create those things. I can't tell these teenagers to stop doing what's normal to them. They've been swiping since they're kids nowadays. So then they're babies, right? So it's important for them to take the advantage and take control of how they are going to be fed information. I can't tell you what to look at. The moment you have a cell phone, the moment you give a child a cell phone, you have to accept that they're going to be an adult. And I hate to say that, but I have to tell parents that the moment you give that child a cell phone, give them every talk that they need to have. Oh, but they're 6. I'm like, they have access. They're gonna type whatever out, and they can't type it. They're gonna voice chat it. So it's too late. You've already taught them to be an adult when the moment you gave them a cell phone. The parental controls mean nothing. You have to teach them everything now. And so putting that back on the parents, but also teach them, have an account for all these things, because there's a thing called an algorithm that will feed into whatever you're curious about. It does that for you. So making them aware and educating them on proper healthy usage of social media, teach them to use it as a tool, not as a void. Use social media as a tool, not a void. Right. And so when they start learning that, it takes away the shame and the guilt that a lot of kids have. They have to hide their stuff or hide their messages and delete their messages and think like they're not going to, like, no, keep it open. Understand that it's a possibility. Go with the flow of the change of life, but teach them to be on top of it. You don't teach that part. We try to hide and protect and all these things, but what we're instilling is deception and shame and guilt.
Right. Right. Let me, it's on topic, but it's a little bit off topic. So lately I've been watching this TikTok trend that's been going on that parents or teachers or whatever been allowing the children, when they are cursing, to go into the bathroom and look into the mirror and say all their curse words. So you say all of your curse words in the bathroom, but once you come out, you can't say the cuss words. You can only say the cuss words in the bathroom. So I was like, what is this? What I was looking, and you can tell me if I'm if like, no, that ain't it, Naomi. What I'm thinking is that I'm gonna still allow you to express your voice, but go into the bathroom and express it then. And when you come out to the public, be respectful of, of what it is, but go have your moment in the bathroom and not have it on the outside. But instead of shutting you down, allowing you to have your voice or not. What do you think about that?
I don't like that personally. I don't like that. That's very fake to me. That's very fake to me. If you're gonna say what you're gonna say, then you need to say it. And if I'm the adult or the parent in this situation, I need to understand that I taught this child enough vocabulary, or they learned enough vocabulary to say these things, and they need to be able to say it to the first person that they've actually come from, which is me. So if that child cannot say that to me, and I can't accept what they're going to say, then that means that there is an imbalance in the parent-child relationship dynamic. And you going to the bathroom does not take away the value and the meaning of the words, right? So why did you need to use those words? Why did you have to choose those words? What do those words mean to you when you're telling them to me? Are you telling them at me, or are you telling them because you're hurting for yourself? There's no emotional responsibility to that. That's just avoidant and deflection. That's just avoidant. That's avoidant behavior. Because then, so every time you get in the issue, you're gonna run away and then say things and come back. That's just the onset of resentment. I'm gonna say everything behind your back and then not tell you up front. That's gonna, because once you say all those words out loud, that changes the image of what you think about that person. Because now you create your own story, your own narrative, and you're not actually directly the conflict. You're not being assertive. You're not being actually with the person that's in conflict. So now you're not teaching how to have healthy conflict resolution skills. You're not teaching interpersonal resolution skills. You're not teaching emotional articulation. You're not teaching healthy expression publicly. And now you're teaching how to be avoidant at this all at the same time. So like, we are so avoidant when it comes to conflict, which is why you see, when women are at the club, right? And they're like, do ask for the number. They had to give them fake numbers, change their name, do all these things to protect themselves because they're afraid of a dude not actually respecting the fact that they're like, no, I don't want to. Right? So we're not teaching the proper etiquette for honest conversation because we couldn't do that with our parents. Why would I do it with somebody that's not?
Right.
That's that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, it's really, when I say that is, I was sending this to some of my girlfriends. I'm like, look, what is this? I was like, what is this? And I was trying to wrap my head around. I was like, why are they doing it? Are they doing this so they can be able to still express their feelings and not put them in front of embarrassment? You understand what I'm saying? Or whatever it is, because it wasn't just did it at home. It was done in school. Like a teacher literally took a student, a young girl out and put her in the bathroom. And she even said that the mother approved of it. She said the mother approved of it, on there. And I was like, wow, what is this? Like, what is happening? And when I say,
where's the self-regulation? That's not self-regulation.
Yeah,
That's just catharsis. That's not restorative at all. Like, was there like an after effect of like, let's sit down and talk about what happened? Let's like what are they doing at home? Right? It makes you wonder what's happening at home.
Yeah.
Does that go back to that our upbringing with when you talk about kids and foul language, as we say back in the day, does it go back to that whole thing of respect? Because I'll give you an example. I have a little daughter, and I heard her cursing one night playing a game. And I didn't get upset about the language she used. I got upset she was too loud, keeping me up. But the thing is we never had to talk about what language, to use. Would I be offended if she used it around me? I don't know. But the thing is we never had to talk about the language, about respect, but she knows not to use that around her parents. And I don't use it around her. But when I go to work, I get in a situation where I cuss like a sailor too. So I'm doing the same thing. So, and it comes from that whole thing of growing up with respect your elders, respect your parents. You don't use that language. And knowing, I guess we do, most parents do know that when they're at school, when they're with their friends, they're using that language. So I guess the thing of it all is, if you say that around your friend, you should be able to say it at home as well.
I think there's a time and a place for everything. There's a time and a place for everything. That's environmental health. Do I know who I am, where I am? Right? Environmental health. Do I know who I am, where I am? Because the truth is that the way I talk to my psychologist friends is not the way I'm talking to my medical doctor friends. And it's not the way I talk to my homeboys, because, and so does the child know when and where to say what? Because because also there is an appointment in time. Like I call it the black box talk, where hey, we close the door, and you say everything that's on your mind, no punishment, no reprimand, nothing. It's just say everything that's on your chest, and then after we're done, we hug it out and we open the door again. Because I want you to know that you can say it safely around me, so you understand that there's a space and a time for things, right? It's that black box talk. But running to the bathroom, yelling it,
Right. That's yeah.
where's the, there's no container. There's no container. It's just open space. There's no container. And so there's no consciousness. There's no consciousness. Which goes back to what Mike was talking about. Mike was talking about there's no respect to even your own words. What do your words really mean? Do you know how powerful your words are? Invest in how powerful their words are. They don't realize how powerful what they say is. And most kids don't even know how powerful they are because they don't feel powerful enough to say what they want to say. So when they learn the power of their words, they'll actually be more willing to talk about those things. Empower your children to speak to you and understand that you may not be the best parent in the world, but you can be the best learner. And then when they know that you're willing to learn them, the conversation goes everywhere.
Yeah.
It's so dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I love how you said that, Big Mike.
Good. No, but really, this has been a great conversation. I guess we didn't have anybody that wants to come in.
Everybody was
today.
just listening.
Yeah, to come in.
Everyone type in the comments a lot. I see a lot of comments.
Yeah, the comments been going. You want to go to a few comments really quick, Dog Pound?
Yeah, go one right here.
Knowledge isn't always power, but application is.
Yeah.
Let's break
that one. That's a very tricky one, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, I think this younger generation has too much access, thinking that it's knowledge, and they think their access is their power, but they're not really creating knowledge. And so they think because they have access, they have the right to have power. Or like, for instance, you see on social media how, you'll see celebrities, post things, and then you'll see people posting all these negative things about them, like they know them. I'm like, you don't know this person.
Right.
You don't know what they do for a living. You don't know what they do, how they woke up. You have no idea about their life. What you saw is a post of them, and then you think that their life is completely like that. And then you think that you can say anything to them.
Right.
Like they aren't human. Right. And so you have all this access, thinking you have this power, but the knowledge of what you have, the way that you haven't learned anything about them.
Right.
You've only consumed the persona. And that's a weird fine line, especially in social media. It crosses so many boundaries.
Yeah.
And it's so sad. People are like, oh, I'm taking a block on social media today. I'm gonna be back for 6 months. Why do you have to tell us that? Go. Just go. Like, we don't care. Like, go. Like, you're gonna be back. And then they come back in 3 months. So it's important to understand, like, knowledge is earned when you're willing to learn. Right. So that's a tricky one. That's a tricky one.
All right. Okay. Well, this has been a great show. It's been a great, very informative. Again, I thank you. I thank you. Again, welcome. Welcome to the family. Welcome to
It
the
feels
family.
great.
Yeah, welcome to the family. Tomorrow we are back live on, well, no, we're not live, but we're back on the Season of Love podcast, and it's talking about embracing, I believe, the healing and overcome changes, embracing the change and overcoming. That is a topic for tomorrow, and it's a great, as you guys, the Season of Self Love podcast, just go right to it. Here, you can Spreaker here, right on YouTube. It's a good one. It's a good one. But I want you to have a great weekend, Dr. Will and Dog Pound Mike.
Yep.
And to all of my beautiful BTG crew out there, again, I want to thank you. I truly appreciate you all. You come back here every week and support us here and all of the conversations that we have. We have authentic conversation over here. We really do. And
Yes, we do.
and again, I think we were really blessed to have you here with us now, that we can truly start to grow and blossom the way that it is supposed to. So again, thank you. Thank you, Dog Pound Mike. I want to thank the Elements for my intro. As always, I told you I'm coming to get another one soon, and I will be. But also make sure that you guys, we're gonna do. It's a replay that you can listen to on Spotify, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Apple, and all of those good things. Please write a review down. Those things that help us. Also, like, subscribe, forward, tell somebody about us. Tell a friend to Ask Nyomi. All right. It's your girl, the Goddess Nyomi Banks, here on this Ask Nyomi Visit Again podcast.
Okay, real quick.
Right. Yes. And remember, be good to one another and yourselves, and always keep it sexy. I'll see y'all next week.
Hey, it's the Goddess Naomi Banks, and I hope you enjoyed that last episode of Ask Naomi Bridging the Gap. And if you did, please like, subscribe, press that notification button, as well as comment. I'll see you next week. Keep it sexy.
Ask Nyomi Bridging the Gap. This is where we talk about love, sex, relationships, cultural differences, and so much more.